would come from anyone's mind. The fact that we've gone through all this hard Brexit, we need a hard Brexit, we need to get all these people out of the country, and then it's like, and then they have the conversation of, well, who's going to make the passports? The French. Sorry, who's making the passports? The French. So we're not making our own passports. A passport's just a book, and we can't make our own books. We literally have no industry anymore in this country. Do you know what I worked out? Our biggest export, it's not, you know, timber from the forest, it's not iron from the mines, no, it's middle class kids thinking they can change the world by going to some third world country, taking a load of drugs and having sex with each other. Literally, all they say is things like, you know, I'm going to go to the country and help poor people. Yeah, well, I'm just going to go and change the world. It's like, mate, you've got an art degree. How are you going to do that? Well, you're going to paint them a picture of how poor they are. Or you're going to make them a collage of their rotting clothes. Go, oh, this is what you could have, mate, because I've got an art degree. But they're not changing the world. They're not doing these things that they say they're doing. Because like I say, all they do is go to these countries, take drugs, have sex with each other, come back, and then you go, oh, you know, did you go to Cambodia? Oh, yeah, I went. Well, how did it go? Oh, well, you know, I just, you know, well, I decided I'm going to take this time for myself, you know, how can I help the world if I can't help myself? That's the sort of things they say, thinking it's deep. And whenever you ask them, well, what are you going to do in these countries, in countries like Cambodia and things like that, what, you know, how are you going to help? I'll probably, you know, just dig a well and build some schools. Like, those two things don't require any skill at all. You don't need any knowledge of irrigation or structural engineering to go, well, I'll build a school. No one does that as a hobby. You don't go to someone, oh, what are your hobbies, mate? I'll just build schools, don't I? I knocked 2 up last night. That's not how it works. And this is the thing that we're giving to the world, and, you know, it's crazy, because it just makes you think, it makes you worry, and this whole Brexit thing has made me worry, especially about the government, because the government's absolutely mental. Like, have you ever seen anything from the Houses of Parliament on TV? It's like a playground. Like, they'll be talking about serious stuff, like cutting people's benefits, the homeless, things like that. They'll be like, right, yeah, we need to cut down on disability allowances, we'll cut that in half. And then they'll talk to their opposition, and it'll be like playground insults. Like, yeah, we need to cut the deficit in half, we need to do this, we need to do that. And also, my opponent's mother licks ducks' feet, and they all go, Ray! Like, what are you saying to each other? Like, you're running the country. This is ridiculous. But it does make me think, like, I do have respect for people that run the country, because that is a mental job. Like, I had 4 fish for 2 weeks, and they all died. Like, that's 4 fish. I don't run a country. No, not one person should be in charge of running the country. It's ridiculous, because it's not possible. You can't do it. And the problem is, these people aren't relatable. They say things like, and you'll remember this, what's the naughtiest thing you've ever done? Oh, well, I ran through a field of wheat. What are you talking about? That's not what the average person does. I left this bar last week, and as I walked out the door, we see a girl behind the bins just going, do you think Theresa May's ever done that? I don't think she has. That's not what common people do. I'll tell you a story that Theresa May will never be able to relate to. My friend used to work at Greggs up the road, right? And do you know when you're so happy that something exists? Like, it could be your children, it could be, you know, a song, it could be a poem. This is what I'm happy. I'm happy that I was on this planet at the same time as this took place. My friend used to work at Greggs up the road, and his sister comes in with his niece and his nephew. And he's talking to his sister, and he goes up to his nephew, and he picks him up and goes, "Oh, you all right, mate? Do you want me to play with you later?" And that's a perfectly normal thing for an uncle to say to a nephew, and that's perfectly fine. It wasn't his nephew. It was just some random kid that he'd picked up and said that to. And you think that's not true. That's a true story, and I'm so grateful that I've been alive to share that story, because that's the sort of thing that people running the country can't relate to. But like I say, I do have respect for people that do run the country, because it is a difficult job. I couldn't do it, and well, they can't do it anyway. But like the average person can't do it, because it's an impossible job. But I would like to sit down with these people, sort of 10, 20 years in the future, and say to them, you know, what did you accomplish? What have you done with your time since you've left that job? You know, have you made a difference? And what I'd like to do is, Theresa May, in 10 years, sit down with her and look at her in her hound dog face and say to her, what have you done in this time since you've left office? What did you do in those 10 years? What have you done to better the country that you helped destroy, basically? And all she'll say is, well, I did go on a trip to Cambodia. That'll be it. Anyway, thanks very much.